Welcome back, guys, to the F1 2018 career mode, and you join me for the Season 3 Mexican Grand Prix. Looking at the weather, it's going to be fairly overcast for Mexico, which is, a little disappointing. I was expecting some sun and some sunny skies. Nonetheless, looking at the development for this weekend, we've bought a minor upgrade, and the only other team to bring some kind of upgrade is McLaren. Everyone else, I think, bolstering down for next season, as I've mentioned before. So, I spoke about this in the last part. We have a chance at taking home the drivers and realistically and the constructors world championships. It is Operation Beat Bottas. We are 50 points ahead of Valtteri Bottas. After this weekend, there are 2 races left to go in the season with a maximum of 50 points available. So, all we have to do is finish ahead of him, and that will mean we will become Drivers' World Champion. That is the goal, that is the sole aim. And did I remember start this season when Daniel Ricciardo led the title for a while and he's dropped off. Now, Operation Beat Bottas is going to be difficult. Look at the last 6 races. For Bottas, win, win. Second, win, win, win. Me, 7th, 2nd. DNF, 2nd, 4th, 2nd. Bottas has been on a tear recently. So, yeah, well, it's up against us. But that challenge starts with quali.
Not long now until the lights go green for the Mexico Grand Prix qualifying. So let's get ready and see who has that pole position winning performance in them this afternoon.
Let's hope it's me, Crofty, because I could really go for it. Our first lap put us provisional P1, but I think we can do better. So that's what I'm going to try and do, even though I got my ERS all wrong at the start of the lap, fiddling around with it. Of course, overtake mode down the main straight, get as much speed as possible, 223 mile an hour before I stamped on the pedal, and then cut as much of the curb as possible through the first sector. I've actually not had a great first sector, about a 10th and a half down on my previous run, but I can make that up in the middle sector and specifically at the final sector. So here we go through the second chicane. The second part of that takes longer to rotate than you would think. Double right-hander. Don't try and use the curve on exit. That will compromise your traction. You can afford to turn the ERS down through this middle sector. It's all about momentum. And I didn't really quite get it hooked up the way that I wanted it to. You can see me losing a bit of time. But out of the second part of the second sector there, nice and flat, and now we're going to be going down towards the baseball stadium here, and we've gone a little bit wide on the curb. Track extension limit, do sincerely apologise, but then it's all about just getting traction out of the corners. Bump it up to hot lap mode so you can boot it out the final corner, charge it towards the line. It's only a mild improvement, but that puts us on a 20 or 112.2. Can Bottas beat that and take pole away from me before the race? Because that'd be shots fired. Let's see what he can do on Sunday.
Formula One may have been absent from Mexico for 23 years, but after 2015's triumphant return, it was as if we'd never been away. In Mexico, a Grand Prix is more than just a race. It's a celebration of speed and of bravery. There's nothing quite like the atmosphere in the stadium today. They'll be drowning out the cars with their noise as they make their way through on lap 1. At 2,285 metres above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners make up a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, and you can expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking too into the hard braking zones of turns 1 and turn 4. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk briefly about Stoffel van Dorn. They've had to change their gearbox. It's never a good start to a Grand Prix when right off the bat you have to contend with a grid penalty.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always better to take some pain now than parking it up halfway through the Grand Prix. Let's just hope they can put that new gearbox to good use and get the results they're looking for.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and the captain completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Perez, Esteban Ocon, and Ricciardo, Verstappen, Sainz, Gasly, and Fernando Alonso. Raikkonen, Stroll, Charles Leclerc, and Hartley, Hülkenberg, Sirotkin, Kevin Magnussen, And Stoffel Van Dorn, Ericsson and Roman Grosjean starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So, as you saw, once again, Bottas fires the first shot and continues his run of form, but we have to do what we have to do. This is one of those few tracks where I'm actually confident in my pace versus the AI, and I think coming out of the first couple of corners, you will see my silver arrow ahead of Bottas's silver arrow. Now, that being said, the race itself, looking like a two-stop. Realistically, you could try to run a harder tyre, but it's not worth it. So hypers onto 2 sets of ultra soft tyres for the rest of the afternoon. So it's going to be an interesting one. Let's hope, unlike Japan, let's hope we don't run into any traffic with our two-stop, because that could cost us dear in this Grand Prix as we build with the lights. 5 are on for our potential World Championship. Lights are out, away we go. We initially respond really well, but like our starts all season long, Bottas then just pulls ahead. Thankfully, the rest of the AI not looking too punchy. We have Perez on our right-hand side. We have Sebastian Vettel and Esteban Ocon on our left, and we try. Bottas moves aggressively towards us in the braking zone. We go all the way round the outside of the Finnish driver, and we have indeed come out of the first couple of chicanes, like I said, in P1. And crucially, Sergio Perez has stuck his Force India between myself and Valtteri Bottas. So it's P1 for me, P3 for Bottas. Realistically speaking, Ocon's also in the running, but probably not as much. Like I say, this is Operation Beat Bottas, and we are setting the pace with a 15-0 at the end of the second lap. Now, DRS is enabled, and it is very powerful here in Mexico. So if these guys can stay within a second of me, coming through the final sector, I'm going to see them challenging me into turn 1. Now, that being said, it's a 15-4 at the end of lap 4, and I've got over a second to Perez, but Perez did not have a second to Bottas, and you can see the DRS on the minimap. That Mercedes just rocket ships past him. Bottas back up into second place, and it's now going to be, over the remainder of this stint, who can manage their hypersoft tyre better, be it myself or be it the porridge boss, as we've both pulled away from the Force Indias. Perez moving slowly, Ocon up to P3 for the Force Indians. We're down to a 17-2. Bottas only 0.6 of a second behind me.
Forecast in just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes.
And we have potential rain in 10 minutes. That was not on the weather forecast. That is a massive, massive concern, because we've seen it before. My inconsistency in the rain could cost us the championship. But before we worry about that, Bottas is down the inside of the second chicane into sector 2, and we are just going to run him clean out of road. In fact, we've had to take to the off-road ourselves, and we get a warning probably from the stewards, and I've probably got Toto Wolff in my ear telling me, whoa, slow it down here, lads. We've got a constructor's title to win as well. So we are coming into the pits at the end of lap 9, and this is for our first of 2 pit stops. This is us going to the ultra soft tyre. Bottas has carried on. Ocon is also in. Vettel carries on. Gasly carries on. Perez carries on, albeit he's really dropped down. Perez has had such an up and down season. Ricciardo goes past. So does Leclerc. So does Hulkenberg. Can we get ourselves out ahead of Hartley? Answer is no. What about Stroll? Answer no. We've come out again right behind a bunch of cars. Not as bad as Japan, but still not great. We need to utilise this fresh ultra soft rubber to try and build a gap to our teammate, Mr. Valtteri Bottas. And to be honest, I don't have time to be hanging around. So I'm going to sit in the slipstream of Lance Stroll. And as soon as I see an opportunity to pass him, I'm going to take it. And that's going to be with the dive bomb of the century into the second chicane here at Mexico, up into P9. That makes some space, and then through the middle sector with the speed that I am carrying and the downforce that I have. Bottas is in. I've set the fastest middle sector of the race so far, and I've dived down the inside of Brendan Hartley, not losing any time. So it appears Bottas, Gasly and Vettel all in the pits. We come round the final corner, stamp on the power. Are we going to be ahead of Valtteri Bottas? He had a whole lap clear of us. He's coming out the pits. You can see him there on the right-hand side as we just pull ahead of Valtteri Bottas. And he's going to have Brendan Hartley for company going down towards turn 1. Is he going to have to keep an eye on his mirrors? Will Hartley try and overtake the Mercedes. He certainly didn't, but end of lap 11, we are pushing. It's the fastest lap of the race on a 14.5, and we are trying to pull away from Valtteri Bottas. He's 1.1 seconds behind us. There is the Finn. So any mistake, any error, Bottas will be all over me. Ocon moves back up to P3, but they are nowhere this afternoon. This, similar to USA, is a Mercedes-dominated display, but we're pulling away from Bottas. Let's have a little check with Jeff about the title.
As things stand, we'll win the Drivers' Championship, but miss out on the Constructors.
So we get that confirmation. Unfortunately, Force India scoring too many points as it stands at the moment for Mercedes to bring home the Constructors' title here today, but we get that knowing feeling that we are ahead of Bottas, and you can see the sky is now clouding over. There is that threat.
5 minutes until rainfall expected. 5 minutes until rain.
And there's Jeff telling us once again that the rain is coming. So we need to be concerned about it. End of lap 19 as well. Bottas has been on an absolute tear recently, and he has closed right up to me. I'm in the 16.5s. Bottas really pushing on now. I haven't really got much to play with. He's going to stream past me on the main straight. I'm going to duck into the slipstream to get some additional speed. Last of the late breakers. I thought Bottas braked late. We have broke even later, and we've just stayed on the track and just kept our position. But Bottas could get a better exit up in the second DRS zone. We cover him off. He's going to have to go the long way round. That does, however, turn to the inside of the second chicane. Bottas initially pulls ahead. We squeeze and pinch him on the apex. We'll get the better exit, though. And here are we ahead of Bottas. He's still down the inside of us into the double apex. Right-hander, we just pull ahead of our teammate. That was aggressive, but it was fair aggressive racing. No one really taken out, no damage caused, because at the start of lap 21, we're now on the 117s. Bottas is still there. He pulls across into our slipstream, and he pulls out of it once again. I've turned the car up earlier. He's not going to be as far ahead this time into the braking zone, and we just need to keep it on the apex. Bottas is still there. We give him the room on the inside, but we just keep the position as we gave him room on the inside, but it turned to our inside. He once again has a better exit, though, and will be trying to take us down into the second chicane. He hasn't braked as late as he did before, and I'm not going to let him come back on me. I closed the door on the potential inside line much sooner that time around. And it's now the end of lap 22. So this is our scheduled pit stop for tyres. The rain hasn't come yet. It's been over 5 minutes. So I'm diving into the pits, taking the bollard with me. Here we go. Final set of ultra soft tyres. Bottas once again carries on to extend his stint, similar to what he did. After all, me being the lead car, given the preferential treatment. And look at this. When the car was put down, I saw a splash, and there is now water along the chassis of my Mercedes. Have we just thrown away the World Championship? Have we just thrown away the position to Valtteri Bottas? Because there is now water streaking along my car down towards turn 1. And hopefully there was no rain indicated on the weather forecast indicator. So hopefully it's just a light shower and it passes, because if we've just had to make an extra pit stop than Valtteri Bottas, we are in huge trouble. He's already going through the fast bit. Now, granted, in this weather with his worn tyres, he's not going to be as quick as me. Think back to Japan when it started raining there, but not too quickly, and we were able to push harder on our tyres. And because we had more grip in the newer tyres. So start of lap 24, we're catching up to one Pierre Gasly. We weren't able to pass him on the previous lap. However, we are able to drive right the way around the outside of him, which turns to the inside of sector, or the chicane at sector 1. That moves us up into P3. Vettel hasn't pit yet either, and neither has Bottas. Now Ocon has come in, and this means if the rain gets heavier, we're all going to have to pit for intermediate tyres.
Valtteri sat in P1. P1 gap to teammate ahead is 18.4 seconds. They're on old ultra softs. The time last lap was a 1 minute 17.6.
Okay, so Bottas is in the 1 minute 17s. I know I'm currently lapping in the 1 minute 15s, and it's 18 seconds. You can see visually on the mini-map, it's the gap has closed, because he's now only just starting the fast corners, and we have got Vettel down to 2.2 seconds, and that's only taken us a couple of laps. So their worn tyres in these greasy conditions really aren't working as such. We've actually caught Vettel at the end of the lap, and he's really slow in the baseball stadium. We need to get on him. Gasly's really slow as well, and he's really worn out ultra soft tyres. But the rain's definitely getting heavier. You can see it. It's actually lingering on our chassis now rather than just streaking straight off. But we have pulled down the inside of Vettel. We're going to open up DRS, and we're going to breeze past him on the pit straight. We've now got 16 seconds to Valtteri Bottas. So the gap exists, but the gap is getting smaller. And we need to just push as hard as we can while we've got fresher rubber. And to be quite honest, probably more confidence in our car as well. But the question is, are we going to need inters? If so, I don't have to pit again.
It's not a perfect situation, but I don't think we have cause to move on to a different tyre yet.
Okay, so our engineer still thinks we're on the right tyre, and Bottas only 15 seconds ahead. But if we do need to pit for inters, Bottas has pitted less, like one time less than me. If we don't need to pit for inters, then Bottas has still got to change his dry tyres. And by the end of lap 27, I'm 11 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas, and we're getting a new strategy on the MFD. You see the rain is that much heavier now, and I get the feeling it is a change to intermediate tyres. And Bottas maybe got the call too late. He's gone on for another lap. DRS disabled. We're diving into the pits, and we're going to get the choice for Mercedes of intermediate tyres. Well. Turns out we do need those intermediates after all. 2.5 by the boys and a VSC. Roman Grosjean is out of the race. I don't know if he's maybe crashed due to the conditions, but now we've been able to pit under a VSC, and more to the point as well, we're now on the intermediate in these conditions while Bottas is on very worn out ultra soft tyres. What is the gap going to be after the finishman's pit stop? Let's find out now. He's already on those inters as we cross the line, and he's already exiting the pit lane, so the gap has decreased, but it hasn't decreased an awful lot. And I'm now looking at it thinking, well, I've thrown away this motor race. I've thrown away the win here, because there is Valtteri Bottas. There are 7 laps to go if you include the one we're on. You can see how hard I'm pushing due to the way the car is sliding. And we've made 1 extra pit stop. So Bottas has got the gap over me, that gap being 3.9 seconds, but I'm going to give it absolutely everything I've got because I still have the confidence in the car, even though I'm all over the place. You can see it with the steering inputs that I'm having to put in, but I want this race win, and I want this World Championship. So, we're pushing. End of lap 30. We come across the line. Gap to Bottas. Now 2.9 seconds.
Okay, I think the track will be drying out quite soon. Mind you don't burn out your tyres.
And there we get an update from Jeff. Apparently the track is going to be drying out soon, so they expect the rain to stop. This rain shower is only very temporary by the looks of things. And so, with the track potentially drying out, we've got the older intermediates, and we need to push up to Bottas. Gap now is 2.6 seconds at the end of the first sector, and there is potentially traffic on the horizon to ruin potentially mine or Bottas's afternoon. So, lap 32. We've caught up to the traffic. There's a lot of it. There's a couple of Saubers. There's a Ferrari. There's a Williams. Gap to Bottas. 2.1 seconds. I am giving it absolutely everything to try and close him down and see if I can pass him for this race win. I can't have Bottas win 6 of the last 7 races. Last time someone did that, they won the World Championship. And I can't have that happen. So we're pushing as hard as we can. What is the gap as we cross this sector? It's still 2.1 seconds as we come into the baseball stadium where the car can be really unsettled over those curves. Bottas has caught up to what looks like a Ferrari and a Sauber. They have got out of the way. DRS is enabled now, so apparently the FIA think it's safe enough for DRS to be used, and more to the point, that signifies another crossover point. So we've now got 2 cars between myself and Bottas, who is 2.2 seconds ahead of me. So we need to get past Kimi, and I'm making a request here. I'm going to see what Bottas does, but I've said box this lap for hyper soft tyres. Now, they will be a worn set, but at this rate, it's better than nothing. So we go through, it stopped raining, there is liquid on track still, but we come through, and at the end of the lap, does Bottas pit? No. Do I want to risk making a further pit stop and potentially having to chase down another pit stop gap to Bottas? No, I've done that enough times this season. I'm not making that mistake again. Gap to Bottas, who's currently having trouble lapping Sergei Sorokin. He's 1.6 seconds, and Sorokin is parking his Williams like an absolute bus on these apexes. Look at him through the double right-hander. The guy who took our seat where we started at Williams parks it in front of Bottas. Now he moves out of the way. Please, Sergei, stay out of my way as I come up behind you. I try and duck to the inside, nearly made contact with the Williams, but with 2.5 laps to go in the Mexican Grand Prix, we are closing up to Valtteri Bottas. The track is getting very, very dry. These inters are getting very, very worn and very, very hot. Loads of cars in the pits now coming out. They're coming out. What's Alonso? Alonso is on Hypersoft. We are in the slipstream of Bottas on inters with barely any ERS left, doing 222 miles an hour on a set of tyres that really shouldn't be on the car, but we are scrapping with 2 laps to go for the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix and potentially the World Drivers' Championship. Look at the drive. Kevin Magnussen gets off that corner on his dry tyres compared to us. Then he has to back off because of blue flags. Bottas locks up, but we can't capitalise. I can't cut underneath him or get the traction because my tyres are dead as well. But we're pushing him through Sector 2 here. And we need to try and save up for the end of the lap to try and get a run on him. Magnussen passes me, and then we're going side by side fighting with Kevin Magnussen. He's probably like going to be 15 seconds a lap faster on those tyres, but I'm trying to save up with lean mix. And I've got hot lap lined up. We're coming on to the final lap of the Mexican Grand Prix. Can we pass Bottas for the win and the World Drivers' Championship? Here we go. If we don't do it here, it has to go to Brazil. We're closing in on Bottas. 220 miles an hour before we slam on the brakes for turn 1. Both of us ever so cautious, ever so delicate. We leap over the curbs. We get it lined up behind him. Alonso out behind us as well as we line up the slipstream of Bottas. We're closer than last time with DRS open. He brakes early. I make a banzai move over the curb and we're through. Sideways Gymkhana action, but we have forced our way past Valtteri Bottas on the final lap of the Mexican Grand Prix on dead intermediates on a dry circuit. But this was the one time I haven't pit for the right tyres, gone, I'm staying out, I can pass him, and I had to take it down to the very last lap. I let Alonso unlap himself through the middle sector because he's moving that much quicker. And now all we need to do is come through the baseball stadium, just keep it nice and controlled and calm. We've done our bit. The fireworks are on display. If we can just hold it for 2 more corners and cross the line, we will do it. One final turn to go now. Over the curbs. Plant the power towards the line to become Formula 1 World Champion.
Fantastic drive, and it means you're driver's world champion. What a result. Enjoy it.
It's been my privilege over the years to witness a number of great sporting events, and here's another to add to that prestigious list. It's the ultimate dream for any racing driver. We have a new Formula 1 World Champion. That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. And it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well though, there's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
We have done it. Extra pit stop and all. We beat Bottas to become drivers world champion. I couldn't believe it. That was my one opportunity I had left in the race, and it was going to be one of those where it was hero or zero, and it worked out. We have a 57-point lead over Valtteri Bottas. It is unsaleable. We could retire from the last 2 races. Bottas could win them, but we have done it. We have reclaimed glory for Mercedes, winning the world title, and we've taken our first world championship in Season 3 at Mexico. Pretty much a carbon copy of F1 2017. Esteban Ocon there, P3 in the title. Vettel was jumped Raikkonen and Sainz at the end of it there. Daniel Ricciardo ends up with 198 points. He was looking like a title contender at the start of the season, but we overtook him at Canada, and we haven't looked back since. Now, as we go over to the constructors side of things, Mercedes have a gap of Force India of 111 points, which means mathematically as well, Force India are out of the running, and Mercedes take home the constructors prize as well. Job done. I've set out what I wanted to do.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective.
Bloody fantastic day, I would think.
It doesn't get much better than a win at this track, does it?
Winning Mexico and winning the Drivers' and Constructors' World title in a really topsy-turvy, insane race. Yeah, it was alright, that.
Everything went your way today. It looked like you had a really good strategy for the race.
I would argue the unexpected rain threw a spanner in the works. If I had stayed out like Bottas, it would have been much more comfortable. But it is what it is.
Things are looking up after last week, aren't they?
Really? These are the questions you have for your new world champion. Disgusting.
So talk us through what happened between you and your rival today.
Hard racing that resulted in me taking the crown.
Appreciate your time.
We've done it! You have won the Drivers' World Championship. There is the trophy after a long, hard-fought season. I remember back to Spain, getting that first win of the season in an excellent drive versus Esteban Ocon. I will say that, of course, the extra development that I put into the car has, of course, helped us out. But Mercedes wanted it just as much as I wanted it. And the platform for me to step into this car after Hamilton stood aside then allowed us, of course, to win the Constructors' World Championship as well. Initial frosty relationships, or initial good relationships with Bottas, obviously clearly broke down after I started to do better than him. He gave it his all. Like those wins he's had in recent memory have been fantastic, and they've helped us gather that Constructors' World Championship. But I have the crown. Here is an overview of the season. You can see it. 4th in Melbourne, or 5th in Melbourne, 4th in Sakir, 4th in Shanghai, finally a podium in Baku, where the car was starting to come on strong. Then Catalonia, which was the first track I really felt at one with the car. Monaco didn't really work out for us, where I couldn't qualify as high as I wanted to. Then the string of results really started. A win in Canada, win in France, which I didn't expect in the rain, win in Austria, 3rd at my home Grand Prix because I struggle, and then a win at Hockenheim. The win at the Hungaroring was fantastic because that finally broke the duck. And then we struggled for the remainder of the season. You can see some results there compared to Season 2, where we got some wins and we just missed out due to going to Mercedes at the end. They're showing off some results for the Mercedes team. But, yeah, Formula 1 World Champion, Season 3 at Mexico. This is apparently just the season and the track that I get it done at, you know, but yeah, really, really fun stuff, and it's been an excellent way to cap off F1 2018. I'm not going to do the last 2 races of the season on camera. I'm going to finish out the season off camera, but I'm not going to do it on camera. I need to take a break before F1 2019 comes out. I'm doing this voiceover on the 20th. I recorded all these like back to back over the course of the week, and I've said it to a few people. At the moment, I'm just sick of playing Formula 1. So I need to take a small break for F1 2019. But yeah, needed to get everything out, and I've just about done it on time. Procrastination is not your friend, people. So if you ever have deadlines, please try and get work done as soon as possible. But of course, with the new game coming out, you'll see some stuff on that. I have an idea on what I want to do. Am I going to reveal that? Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, wow. I'm happy I got it done. Really happy I got it done, especially in a situation like that, similar to Japan, where it was questionable: do we pit? Do we not pit? this was the time I said no, and I was able to get it done. So please leave a like if you have enjoyed, and comment any feedback down below. And of course, if you want to be kept up to date with the content coming to the channel, then hit subscribe and enable them notifications. I've seen some new guys in the comments, especially on like recent parts and in Season 3 as well. So I hope you guys really have enjoyed. I'd recommend going back and watching this career mode since the start, because it has been a fun ride to almost give it like a little storyline element to it. And I would even say go back and watch my F1 2017 stuff, because I started doing this with F1 2016. So I've also done some other stuff as well for the guys that are around, and who knows what I'm going to do in the future. But for now, we close the chapter on F1 2018, and we look forward to F1 2019, and I will see you all next time.